Opponent swaps out. There's the Togekiss. Gonna go straight for the Ancient Power here, and then look to pull off a combo play swap into the Lapras. Ice Beam going to knock out the Togekiss. Boom! There it is. Have you ever seen a Togekiss go down faster than that? We got a Escavalier lined up onto the Mewtwo though here, and because it shields down, Mega Horn is gonna go to town. Boom! Fishing for the boost right here. Ancient Power into the Umbreon. Oh boy, there it is. We get the boost. Does this flip the match? We're about to find out. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ox here with another video. If you're new to the channel, we do upload Pokemon Go content mostly related to PvP, so please consider subscribing to the channel if that is of interest to you. And if you're a returning subscriber like Eddie Gordo, thank you for the support. In today's video, we're taking a look at the Lapras Giratina Escavalier line from earlier last week, which I asked if you guys wanted to see a part 2. A lot of you said you did, so here it is in today's video. Now I know I haven't uploaded in a while, so I'm trying to make up for that by making this a longer video than usual. Gonna include a lot of battles here, and this is a team that I managed to climb up just about over 300 points with over the course of maybe 12-13 sets. I haven't been playing as much as I'd like to this season, however I am trying to make the most of it when I can. These battles are from a few days ago, but currently I sit just below 2500 I believe, and the majority of those points were gained with this specific team. So what you may notice from this team is that Giratina is running Ancient Power. Now you could definitely run this team with Shadow Sneak. If you are running it with Shadow Sneak, I think Escavalier could actually get away with Acid Spray in that case. However, if you're running Ancient Power, you're going to want to run Mega Horn on the Escavalier because you're going to want that coverage for the Cresselia. Ancient Power really makes the Cresselia matchup very difficult for Giratina. When I was first running this team, I thought I would be utilizing Giratina as a safe switch, trying to catch Togekiss, Articuno, Lapras switch-ins off guard with the Ancient Power. The thing is, unless you're getting the boost, Ancient Power Giratina still loses those matchups. I think for the purpose of a safe switch, Shadow Sneak is actually better for Giratina Altered. However, I did start playing this team in a different way where I would stay in with Lapras more often and then use Giratina with Ancient Power, usually with a shield advantage if possible. If it gets the boost, absolutely broken. And overall, this team performed very well for me, going positive in almost every set I did. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please consider leaving a like. It really helps the channel grow. Leave a comment in the comments section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Now without any further ado, let's jump into the first battle right now. So I've definitely been slacking a little bit with the battles this season, only at rank 20 at the time of these battles. However, I did get very close to veteran with this specific team. For this video, I decided to feature the battles which I found most interesting, and most of them are going to include either a bad lead or very difficult matchups to come out of. So a lot of strategy involved in these battles, starting off with a banger right here. Lapras into Melmetal. Good thing about this team is that we have two counters for Melmetal in the back, so I safe switch into my Giratina, get met by an Alolan Muk, which is really bad, so I'm going to go for the Ancient Power boost here. If you get that, it's pretty solid. Don't get it, so now I'm just going to go straight Dragon Claws from here. Opponent goes for the Dark Pulse, doing a lot of damage. Next one is going to knock us out. So I'm just looking to do some chip damage here with the Giratina, and then at that point I could come in with either Escavalier or Lapras. I think I'm actually going to come with Lapras here, and the opponent's actually holding off from throwing here, so this is going to allow me to get to one more Dragon Claw, which may get the shield. Very good for us. So we're going to come out of this match losing switch, but we do get the shield, which is really good. Opponent throws Dark Pulse. They have energy, so I'm actually going to decide to come with Lapras here just because it's going to be able to take these Dark Pulses a lot better, even Sludge Wave. And I'm actually going to probably farm down completely here. Don't think I want to throw any energy and look to save that for the lead Pokemon. I expect the Melmetal to probably come back in, at which point I might throw a Surf and then swap out into a Escavalier, or just swap out immediately. We'll see how it plays out. We do have a shield advantage, which is really good. Decided to swap out immediately because the Melmetal actually had energy stored, so I'm catching this damage onto the Escavalier, which is really nice. And the opponent's safe switch, or the opponent does not safe switch, but the opponent swaps out into their Swampert here. So it's a good thing we have a shield advantage here because that's pretty much the only way we're going to be able to beat Swampert in this particular matchup. Going for the Mega Horn here, which will do a lot of damage. I'm expecting them to want to save the shield for their Melmetal, which they do. And now at this point I could shield and actually farm down, which is really good for me because I'll be able to get off a Drill Run against this Melmetal. And that's going to get the last shield for sure, at which point I'm going to look to catch the move onto my Lapras, hopefully. So let's see if we could do that. Gonna throw the Drill Run here, maybe one more counter, switch timer not up yet, get in two more, swap into Lapras. Opponent's going to throw the move here. I should be able to get to the next Drill Run before they get to a move. I believe might be CMP tie, gonna be very close. but we are able to beat the Melmetal. I believe this was probably CMP tie there, so we got pretty fortunate, but we come back from a very difficult lead there and we win this first game against Melmetal Elite. So 1 0-0-5 here in the next matchup. We're going to be the Lapras into Abomasnow. So again, this is a very difficult lead for Lapras, of course. Thing here is that a lot of times, if you could call the energy ball on the first one and shield that correctly, you could end up winning this in the 1 versus 0 shield. Abomasnow very typically is pretty much never going to shield against Lapras, so go straight for the Ice Beam. You can see there's quite a bit of damage there. And now we're going to put in Surf range. We could definitely take the next energy ball, so there's no point to shield here. And now we're in a good position. We're going to lose at least 1 shield here. If they decide not to shield this, though, we're going to win switch advantage, so I'm able to take that exchange. Able to farm down as well with Ice Shard, which is really nice. And the opponent's going to come in with the Clefable. So Clefable, not what we want to see here, of course. However, we're going to do some nice chip damage with Surf. And then Escavalier has a pretty decent matchup against it anyways, so a little bit of a visual lag there, it looks like. Going to come in with Escavalier here, keep this Clefable away from the Giratina, and we see a Swampert come in the back. I'm going to throw a Joran, try to get the shield here, and then look to swap out into my Giratina. Maybe try to catch the Hydro Cannon to Giratina. No, I did not. So it's a bit of a risky play there, because if I mistimed it, I would have to shield the Escavalier, which I didn't really want to do. So I just went straight into the Giratina here, and I'm going to throw a Dragon Claw. The Swampert lets that go through. Earthquake won't KO, so I should be able to get off 1 more Dragon Claw here, which might get the shield. They might decide to let it go. They get off the Earthquake. They might actually let this go through so that they could come in with the Clefable and farm down the Giratina. And that's really good for me that I get rid of that Swampert. Gonna get off a Dragon Claw here. Now, of course, Escavalier has enough health where it could survive any move the Clefable throws at me, so I'm gonna swap out. And at this point, because the Clefable still has a shield, there's no point for me really to throw a charge move. So the play here is to commit to a straight farm down and just hope I could outpace the charm damage with counter, which thankfully we are able to do. And we're going to take that second match right there against another very difficult lead, XDE 1A. And for this particular video, it's not just going to be wins, of course, there's going to be a couple losses, see some of the mistakes I made. This is one of the games where I feel I did make a mistake, and it's particularly in this lead matchup. So I swap out to Giratina. At this point, I was kind of looking to use Giratina as a safe switch to sort of lure out a counter like Lapras, Articuno, Togekiss, something like that. But what I realized after was that if I get stuck in a situation like this against Umbreon, it's such a wall, and unless I get a boost, there's really nothing I can do. And I need to get the boost on like the first Ancient Power as well, because at this point, even if I get the boost, it's pretty much game over for this particular matchup right here. So against a Swampert lead, I think it actually makes more sense to stay in there with the Lapras. And then because I can win switch in that particular lead matchup, I could have aligned my Escavalier onto this Umbreon, kept my Giratina away from it. Instead, I've kind of put myself in a tricky spot here. So I think if you see a Swampert lead with Lapras, it's better to actually stay in. And since you have Ancient Power on the Giratina, it's not the worst thing if you see a Togekiss in the back, as long as you could sort of maintain shields for it. So I think that's probably the better way to play this out. Here I thought I could farm down, I couldn't, so I'm actually gonna have to be forced to burn a shield here on the foul play, commit to the straight farm down. So I have a lot of energy here. Swampert comes back in. I think it makes sense to go for two drill runs here. I'm hoping this isn't CMP so I get off the second one, but unfortunately it is. So I would have to burn the shield here if I want to get off the second drill run, which I decide to do. And the opponent is going to make a decision here whether or not they want to shield this. I would expect that they probably do. They actually did not. So they saved 2 shields for Cresselia, and at this point there's nothing I could do here. Lapras already loses this matchup if the opponent's running Grass Knot, and with 2 shields on their side, there's really nothing I can do, just surrender here. So a really tough matchup there, but we're going to redeem ourselves in this next matchup. Woolly Goat 27. This is another Swampert lead, and I'm going to play it a bit differently this time. So instead of swapping onto Giratina, I'm actually going to stay in with the Lapras here. Of course, Lapras has a good match against Swampert, especially if you could call the Earthquake. Even if you let the Earthquake go through, you could still win this. As you can see here, I didn't shield it, but it does about 50% of my health. So I'm going to go for the Surf here. Surf definitely chunks at the Swampert, and they're going to let that go through. I have a second one ready. At this point, if we shield the next Earthquake, we're going to win this matchup. So they let that go through, which means all I have to do is shield this next move. If it's a Hydro Cannon, I won't KO, but don't want to take the chance here. If they bait, they're not going to get to another Earthquake anyways, so we're going to farm down here. And we take Switch Advantage in exchange for the loss of 1 shield. Cresselia comes in. At this point now, I could throw this Ice Beam here. and then come in with my Escavalier, which is going to have a very good matchup. Thing with Giratina in this particular matchup is that because I don't have Shadow Sneak, doesn't have a very good match against Cresselia, so I don't really want to bring that out. So much safer to just come with Escavalier here, which is pretty much I wouldn't say a wall to Cresselia, but it does very well, especially if it's running Moonblast and Grass Knot. If it has Future Sight, it's a bit more difficult, but with this particular moveset, it's not too bad. So I'm going to go for the Drill Run here, mostly because the opponent still has shields. I was hoping to get one there, but they didn't, so definitely not going to shield myself here, let this go through. It's only a Grass Knot, and I think at this point I'll overfarm a little bit before throwing the Drill Run, try to do it on the CMP there, force them to burn a shield if they want. They do not, and they come in with a Ho-Oh here. So I'm going to come with Giratina. This is a really good matchup for us, even down a shield. Going to go straight for the Dragon Claw here, totally expecting a shield at this point, and they don't, so kind of wish I went for Ancient Power instead. Again, they probably don't expect us to have Ancient Power, so I was pretty surprised. Well, I shouldn't say I was surprised, I guess I was not surprised that they didn't shield rather. And at this point, nothing KOs from this range, so you definitely let the first one go through. And just build up for 2 Dragon Claws here, get the first shield, and then shield up the next move. We should outpace them to the final Dragon Claw, which should be enough to win the game right here. So, not sure if this Dragon Claw will KO, however, we just have to shield up their move, and one more Shadow Claw is enough to take that game. So you can see Giratina very dominant match against Ho-Oh, which is always nice. DanielSchilling here in the next match. And we're going to be leading Lapras here into a Stunfisk. So first XL Galarian Stunfisk of the season we encounter. And Lapras, of course, has a very good matchup here. I mean, this whole team in general performs very well. I guess the Giratina isn't so great because it doesn't have Shadow Sneak. And we see Alolan Ninetales come in. Don't know why I'm going for Ice Beam here. Definitely want to be going for Surf. But it is what it is. Throw the Ice Beam. I'm going to swap out into a Escavalier here. Now this Ninetales is running Charm. Definitely don't have to shield anything at this point. And just build up for the Drill Run right here, which will be enough to knock out the Ninetales. Going to throw this right before they get to the next Weather Ball. I think ideally that's the best play, and let that go through. So we're probably going to see the last Pokemon, which is a Swampert. I'm going to go straight for the Drill Run here. It's going to do some nice chip damage. Probably expect them to shield up as well, which they do. And I'll just let them take me out here. And after this, I guess I'll come in with the Lapras here. I guess because I don't have Shadow Sneak, it might make more sense to actually come with Giratina. But I think at the time of these battles, I actually was thinking for some reason I had Shadow Sneak on my Giratina and the matchup versus Stunfisk would be better. But it's actually a lot worse without Shadow Sneak. But I came with Lapras here to force them to throw the Earthquake, because if it's a Hydro Cannon, they're going to have to take this Surf, right? So I wanted them to burn all their energy, and I think that was achieved by bringing in the Lapras there. They come with the Stunfisk here. This isn't a good matchup for Giratina, of course, without the Shadow Sneak, however. It's still very winnable, and with 2 shields on our side, there really is nothing the Stunfisk could do here. Could go for the Earthquakes, but as you see, these Shadow Claws still add up, and all we have to do is start shielding. I don't shield this one, totally expecting the Rock Slide there. They can't much shot me down, so they're gonna have to start throwing Earthquakes to really threaten me. I mean, at this point, I'm low enough where I do have to shield the Rock Slides, of course, but calling that first Rock Slide was a huge call. And even if the Earthquake did go through on that last play instead of the Rock Slide, they can't much shot down anyway, so they're gonna have to start spamming the Rock Slides. It's just one of those situations where if you realize the opponent's Pokemon has like Mud Shot or something that can't really threaten you with a farm down, you can be really picky with when you want to actually shield. So Acid for life here in the next match. And we're going to be Lapras into Giratina Altered form. So this is a great lead for us, of course. It is a Shadow Claw variant, and the opponent's choosing to stay in here. And I'm going to let this first one go through, as is the usual case. Don't shield anything until they force me to. And I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. Now, I'm a little bit surprised when people stay in with the Giratina. I'm more surprised when they shield right here. So this makes me think one of two things. One, either they're really afraid of this Lapras in the back, or two, I'm going to really need my Lapras. I guess that's the same thing, but yeah. So I actually decided to shield here because this was looking a little bit fishy to me. And I figured they're probably going to shield this up thinking it's an Ice Beam. So I do go for the Surf Bait. And at this point, I'm actually going to shield again because for some reason I was really thinking this opponent doesn't want me to have my Lapras alive for some reason. So Clefable comes in, I swap out into Escavalier, I save that energy on my Lapras, which is really good. And at this point, I'm anticipating a double charm team because Giratina Clefable, expecting a Togekiss in the back. So a bit of a tricky spot. That's why I decided to keep that Ice Beam ready. on the Lapras instead. And as you can see, I'm going to go for the Drill Run, which should be enough to knock out the Clefable here, I believe. And we have our Escavalier at minimal HP, which is perfect, reduces the farm down for the Giratina. Now notice, I come in with Giratina here instead of the Lapras because I am anticipating that Togekiss in the back, and I want to save the energy for the Togekiss instead. Opponent swaps out, there's the Togekiss. Gonna go straight for the Ancient Power here, and then look to pull off a combo play, swap into the Lapras, Ice Beam, going to knock out the Togekiss. Boom! There it is. Have you ever seen a Togekiss go down faster than that? That was quite the combo play right there. Lapras gonna farm down this Giratina. We take that game. As you can see, the lead play definitely looked fishy with the opponent shielding the Ice Beams very early. Staying with the Giratina, so I did keep the Lapras alive and definitely paid off for us there because that was a very difficult lineup in the back for us. So Lapras into Armored Mewtwo here, trying to swap out, but there seems to be some lags, so get hit by a couple of moves there. Umbreon comes in, which is not good. Fishing for the boost right here, Ancient Power into the Umbreon. Oh boy, there it is, we get the boost. Does this flip the match? We're about to find out. So Foul Play comes through. Giratina, at this point I think we just go straight Dragon Claw because we already got the boost, right? So no real point to go for more Ancient Powers unless we want to really get more boost, but Dragon Claw is starting to do a lot of damage, as you can see. And it actually looks like the Shadow Claws are doing more damage than the Snarls, which is pretty ridiculous if you think about it. But guys, the boost is absolutely broken. And I'm starting to realize at this point, I could probably take back Switch here because of the boost if I start shielding. Especially when I see the opponent shield first. That's how you know boost in this game for Ancient Power is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going for the Dragon Claw once again here. The Umbreon is going to shield once again. And at this point I realize I'm going to be able to get to the next move before the Umbreon and win Switch. So I actually do choose to go into the 2 shields, taking full advantage of this Ancient Power boost. And we win Switch against an Umbreon with Giratina Altered. Is it a counter confirmed? Probably not. I mean, obviously it's not, but you know, the boost is broken. Look at how much damage this Giratina is about to do to this Mewtwo because of the boost. The Mewtwo cannot even farm it down. It's forced to throw energy. I was about to knock this thing out with a Giratina already in the red. That's insane. So I come with this Escavalier here. Obviously has a huge, well, I shouldn't say huge, has a very positive matchup against the Mewtwo. I haven't done this in so long, I'm already forgetting what to even say and how to do this right. So this was a questionable play. I think I could have farmed down here, to be honest, but I didn't want to take the chance. Just wanted to keep this alive. We see Talonflame come in, so maybe it was better if I didn't keep this Escavalier alive. But that Drill Run, you know, it definitely adds up. Gonna go for the Surf here on the Talonflame. We could definitely survive a Brave Bird, and at that point we could probably farm down with the Ice Shard if they actually go for Brave Bird. If they go for the Flame Charge, we will survive and we'll outpace it to the next Surf. So we should be able to take this game quite comfortably, and we actually are able to farm down with the Ice Shard instead. So you can see that game was definitely won because of the Ancient Power boost there, taking back Switch. Jon Snow 12-21 here in the next match. We got Lapras into Zangoose. So this is an interesting matchup because obviously Zangoose does threaten us with the close combat. I actually am going to throw the Surf here first. And because the opponent shields, this actually makes me think they're not going to go straight for the close combat, but rather bait. Because they have a lot of health, they shielded to probably get to more than one charge move. So I felt pretty confident letting that one go through, and it was only a Night Slash. Now they actually end up burning their second shield. At this point, I'm okay actually letting this go down, coming with Escavalier and farming, but they go for Night Slash again. So at this point, I realize now all I have to do is shield once. They can't get to another close combat. I'll win Switch, take out the Zangoose while keeping a shield advantage. I thought that was definitely worth the shield there, so that's what I decided to do. And we take out that Zangoose in the 1 vs 2 shield, which is quite rare to be honest. But a nice play on our part, I think. Togekiss comes in, and not an optimal situation, but because we have Giratina with a shield advantage and Ancient Power, we have play here. So I'm going to go for the Ancient Power right here at this Togekiss, and at this point I could actually just shield this up, and then probably throw a Dragon Claw with the Shadow Claws might be enough to KO. I just want to get rid of this Togekiss because it's obviously very bad matchup for the Escavalier. I let that extra charm go through, which isn't good, so now I'm going to get knocked out, but I could come with the Escavalier and actually farm down. Opponent swaps out into Muk, so we're very happy to see this. Still have the shield, of course, so I just need to go for the Drill Run here. And this isn't going to KO. And at this point, I thought I could probably farm down before the opponent gets to 2 Dark Pulses, so I thought that was probably the best play in saving the shield. But what ends up happening is that the opponent actually does get to a second Dark Pulse. So at this point, I just actually decide to shield here and then have the Drill Run ready for the Togekiss. It's low enough where a Drill Run will KO. So definitely worth using the shield there against the Muk. Of course, this Dark Pulse would KO, and we're going to win CMP there against the Togekiss, assuming it had the move ready, which I don't think it did. Take that game. Sosu 122 here in the next match. Going to be leading Lapras into a Shadow Machamp. One of the worst leads you're ever going to see with Lapras, so I'm going to instantly swap out into my Giratina now. Maybe you should stay in and try to catch a cross chop. Thing is, you're going to take a lot of damage from those counters, so it's a little bit risky. Still Lapras come in. This is when you really like having Ancient Power, of course. And I go for the first one, didn't get the boost. So I'm going to start going for the Dragon Claws now, only because Dragon Claw is actually more energy efficient in this matchup than Ancient Power. And I decide to shield here, and because we called the Ice Beam, we actually have a chance now to take this matchup because of the slight energy lead we had. So I could actually take Switch here. If this is another Ice Beam, I'm okay shielding twice because they've already used one of their shields. I'm okay winning Switch in the 2 versus 1 and keep my Lapras away from the Machamp. The problem is Escavalier doesn't have a very good match against Machamp either. So we see Melmetal come in, which I'm pretty happy to see here because I could bring in the Escavalier. But what I decided to do instead is bring the Lapras. The reason for this is because Lapras has a horrible match against both Melmetal and the Machamp. So I'm pretty much sacking it because it has no play whatsoever. My win condition comes down to Escavalier here. So the opponent swaps out to Machamp. This is what I wanted to happen. And I'm able to get to the Surf, which is huge. Really hoping they decide to shield this, which they do. And they're going to farm me down. Now I'm going to come with the Giratina. I believe I have a move ready here. So this is going to force them to throw energy. If it's a cross chop, I will survive and get off this Dragon Claw damage, which is huge. Definitely needed this right here. And they might actually decide to throw energy again because Shadow Claw is going to add up. And I was probably very close to another Dragon Claw. So they should be drawing energy. I swap out into Escavalier here. Melmetal comes back in. I should be able to get to this Drill Run. Nothing really would threaten the Escavalier here from the Melmetal anyway. So we're going to take this game against an incredibly difficult lead there. And I think that win came down to sacrificing the Lapras, understanding I had no play in that matchup whatsoever. So we take that game right there. Next matchup here, we got Armored Mewtwo lead. Armored Mewtwo is very difficult for Lapras, usually because it's either running Dynamic Punch or Rock Slide as its second move, both of which are going to be doing super effective against Lapras. So I swap out to Giratina here, hoping to catch Dynamic Punch. Fortunately, it's a Rock Slide, but that's still good. We see Granbull come in, and actually Granbull here, because it's not running Charmed, is a playable matchup for Giratina. So see Crunch come through, does a lot of damage, but if I want to invest shields, I could win this. Fishing for the boost still, which is pretty crazy. Actually, I guess it makes sense because Dragon Claw is resisted, so going Ancient Power here actually is the correct play. I don't know why I was acting surprised by that. You definitely do want to be going for Ancient Power at that sort of health range. Now, I'm going to shield here, and it's low enough now where Dragon Claw will actually threaten it. So I'm looking to take Switch back here, have my Escavalier aligned onto the Mewtwo, which is pretty much a wall for the most part. So that's what I wanted to do here, and we are able to do that. We are down a shield, but I think having this alignment is going to make up for that. So I'm going to go for Drill Runs here, mostly because the opponent has 2 shields, so there's really no point to go for Mega Horn, costs more energy, and they're likely to shield at least one of these anyways. So I'm going to go straight for the Drill Run here. They do shield the first one, and I don't think the next move will KO. So I do get to another Drill Run here. This isn't going to threaten the Mewtwo, of course, but we do get the second shield, which is really nice. At this point, I'm starting to think that they're probably weak to the Escavalier in the back because they're staying in here and they're shielding everything. So I actually decided to shield up and hoping I can get to this Mega Horn, which will be enough to knock out the Mewtwo here. And I'm expecting there to be something in the back that does not want to see the Escavalier, and it is, of course, a Registeel. So I'm hoping to get to this Drill Run. Very important that we get this before the Registeel throws a move, and then swap out into the Lapras immediately. We have the Surf ready. The Registeel is going to be forced to throw energy here. I don't think Focus Blast will KO from this range. So we're actually going to be able to get to another Surf here before they get to the next move. And Lapras is actually going to close out this game. And we pull off another impressive win here against a very difficult lead. So you could see just sort of understanding what the win conditions are, when to take Switch if you have the opportunity. Even if you go down a shield, could be worth it a lot of the time. JD 2-3-3-2 here in the next match. Got Lapras into Talonflame. Positive lead for once here. And Usually I don't shield anything that the Talonflame throws on the first move. Even if it's Brave Bird, it's going to put me in a good spot after anyways. And it is Brave Bird, CMP tied thankfully, so they're going to be forced to shield, especially after the defense drop, which they do, and now they swap out into Umbreon. So I'm going to come with Escavalier here, and typically, I think going straight Drill Run is the play here. However, because this opponent has already used one shield, I really don't think they want to burn both and go down 2 shields to 0, especially in a matchup like this, which isn't very good for Umbreon. So I go straight for the Mega Horn here, and I should be able to survive this and then commit to the straight farm now, especially because they have Dark Pulse, so they're not going to get to the moves as quickly, and we are able to do that. So now, expecting them to come back in here. With the Talonflame farm is down, so we're not able to get that Drill Run. And now I have a decision to make. I actually decided to come with Giratina here, just because it isn't as threatened by the moves, but they have a Cresselia in the back, so not the best matchup here. Cresselia does very well against the Lapras, and of course I don't have Shadow Sneak on the Giratina, so not the most optimal situation. However, I do have a shield advantage, and because of this shield advantage, I'm actually able to win this, provided the Cresselia doesn't go crazy with the attack debuff. So throwing the Dragon Claw here, and you can see we're building up the Dragon Claw very fast. They're not doing much, but because of the 2 shields, we're in a pretty good spot here. Swap out to Lapras now, hoping to get off this move. We're not able to, so instead I decide to sack this in a sense. We do catch a Moonblast though, which means we survive this. And they don't want to catch this Surf onto the Talonflame, so they decide to keep the Cresselia in there, take that damage as a shield, and we get farmed down by the Talonflame. Now the thing is, I'm not in the range where I'm going to get knocked out by a Brave Bird, so I don't have to shield the first one. I go straight for the Ancient Power, hoping for the boost. We don't get it. Definitely don't want to shield this first one, because the last thing you want to do is shield a Flame Charge and then get hit by a boosted Brave Bird. That would give them a win condition. You do not want to do that. Shield the second one. This makes more sense. We will outpace it to the Ancient Power. This is going to be enough to knock out the Talonflame, and we're going to be able to take this game as we get an unnecessary boost towards the end of the game, of course. Usually when it happens, but we did get that one against Umbreon, so I can't really complain. Sungwon 2009 here in the next match. We got Lapras into Obstagoon. Probably the worst lead for this team because it beats the Giratina as well. If it's not running Cross Chop, you could actually win this in the 0 shields by going Ice Beam and then Surf. So that's usually what I try to do. However, they do have Cross Chop here, which isn't good. You also want to make sure no extra counters come in if you want to have any chance of winning this. And getting in the extra Ice Shards could give you an opportunity to perhaps win this in the 0 shields. Hoping this is a Night Slash, but it's a Cross Chop. You see, I do get to the Surf, but unfortunately we're not able to get it in time. The counter came through first. So we do lose in the 0 shields. Coming from Escavalier, you're going to take this damage from the Night Slash. And at this point, we're in a pretty tough spot. We see a Talonflame come in, so I'm going to swap onto Giratina. Did take one of those Incinerates onto the Escavalier, which did so much damage. Took like 25% of my health. Brave Bird comes through. I probably should have shielded that, to be honest, but we didn't really have much play here either way because there is a Cresselia in the back, and I don't have Shadow Sneak, so maybe I should be going for the Ancient Power here instead for any sort of win condition maybe. But I'm just hoping the opponent starts shielding. I'm still going for the Dragon Claws. They're not shielding. Looks like they're saving this for the Talonflame. And I swap onto Escavalier here, which is very good because this is going to, of course, knock out the Cresselia. However, it's pretty much free energy for the Talonflame. Gonna come in, farm me down. Now, I do think there's still a win condition here, but it's very, very tight. So I'm gonna go for the Ancient Power here. And I guess the opponent could go Brave Bird or Flame Charge here. The only win condition I have is calling the Flame Charge, right? And I need to get to 2 moves here. I didn't get the boost, so now I'm going to shield this second one. The problem is these Incinerates are going to be doing more damage each time it gets boosted. I need to get to 2 Dragon Claws. I still don't think that would be enough because I would get the first shield, but I don't think the second one would be enough to KO. An Ancient Power would be, but definitely wasn't going to get enough energy for that. So do end up losing that game, but you can see we made it pretty close despite the difficult lead. Talonflame XL here in the next matchup once again. And this is again, it's a good matchup for Lapras. I'm waiting to throw here at 100, not 100, but very close to 100 energy here, about 80 energy out of 100. And they let that go through, which I found surprising. So I'm going to let it go through to the first one. And I wanted to test something here. So I go for the Surf. And if they shield this, I'm actually going to let this go through and see if I can win this by farming down in the 0 shield basically. So that's what I tried doing here, and as you could see, we fall just short. I did get to the Surf, but I wouldn't have been able to get off anyways. Unfortunately, Giratina is able to farm down before they get off a move, and we see Togekiss come in. So we've already seen this earlier in the video. Giratina versus Togekiss with Ancient Power could be okay if you have a shield advantage. So I do go for the Ancient Power here. Now, Charm is honestly one of the most difficult moves to sort of deny. Like, it almost always seems like the extra Charm goes through. I think it's like a delay between the animation and the sound it makes or something, but very hard to time that. We see Empoleon come in, so this is obviously very good for us. I'm going to shield up this first move, of course, throw the Drill Run, and hopefully be able to take this game right here. So I think it actually makes sense for the opponent to shield this, and then I need to beat it to the next move, but they let it go through. So at this point, there's no point for me to throw anything. I just have to commit to the straight farm down here with the Escavalier because they have a shield left, and we're able to take that game. So let's jump into the next one here, SwimX. And we're going to be leading Lapras this time into a Cresselia, so a pretty awful matchup if they have grass. Not playable if it's Future Sight, but still you want to switch out here. So like I said in the last video, when you bring in the Giratina here, you do not want to see them stay in with the Cresselia. Two reasons: obviously, one, you don't have Shadow Sneak, so it's a losing matchup. Two, probably means they're weak to the Giratina in the back, and you kind of wish you saved it at that point. But we're stuck in this matchup now, so let's see how it plays out. As you can see here, opponent's going to throw the Moonblast, decide not to shield this one, and I'm hoping I could at least get one shield here and win this in the 2 versus 1 shields. But I think I actually took too long to swap out, and because of that, it looks like I'm going to be forced to go into the 2 versus 0 if I want to win this. So this is very unfortunate. I actually do decide to shield this up and take switch advantage while going down 2 shields. See Giratina Altered come in. So I'm okay with this now because we do have Lapras, of course. So I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw here, hoping I can get a second one. And hopefully, best case scenario, I could at least get one shield here, make this game a bit more playable, which we are able to get. Now I'm going to let the Giratina go down, of course, keep the alignment Lapras onto the Giratina, and hope that my Escavalier has some play in the back. Happens to be Melmetal. So there is some play here, and there is a possibility of winning this game. So I'm going to go for the Drill Run here. It's of course going to get the final shield, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to outpace it to the next move. So they might actually be able to take me out here with their 1 shield advantage. Yes, they are going to be able to do that, but there is a win condition here, and this win condition pretty much consists of me coming in with Lapras and not throwing the Surf and having it land on Giratina. So because the next move from Melmetal actually won't KO, I should not have thrown here because I could have survived one more move. I should have over farmed, had enough energy when they swapped, hit it with the Ice Beam, and then I'd be able to build up for the Surf after against that Melmetal, which would have been enough to knock it out and win this game. But I didn't take that in the moment, made a misplay there, threw the Surf when I definitely should not have, because it did not call for the win condition there. I mean, if they stayed in and I landed the Surf, of course I would win the game either way, but it made more sense to expect the safe swap and to just over farm so that I have the Ice Beam ready for the Giratina and then a Surf ready for the Melmetal. You can see even playing it like this, we almost still managed to come back from that game and take it, but we fell a little bit short. Blue Dro 88 here in the next match. We got Lapras into a Suicune, Shadow Suicune, so this is quite the spice. If Suicune is actually running Hydro Pump Ice Beam, losing matchup for Lapras in just about every situation. If it's running Bubble Beam Ice Beam, winning matchup for Lapras in just about every situation. I decided to swap out into the Giratina anyways and actually shield up this Ice Beam here. This isn't a good matchup for Giratina, of course. However, I had some confidence in my ability to call the baits versus the Ice Beam, so let's see if I can pull it off here. I come in with the Giratina, throwing the Dragon Claws, and we're even on shields. At this point, I'm going to let this go through. I know it's going to be an Ice Beam most likely, but hoping that they start throwing Bubble Beams towards the end as they start throwing. This seemed way too early for an Ice Beam here, so I took the chance. It's only a Bubble Beam, which is really good, and I should be able to get to 2 Dragon Claws here. So I'm going to throw this first one, which actually doesn't KO, and we get a little bit of what looked like a lag there, but this should be a Bubble Beam. Even if it wasn't, I was willing to let the Giratina go down. It's only a Bubble Beam. We survive. We take out the Suicune. We keep switch advantage, which is huge because look at what's in the back. It's a Mewtwo. We get the boost when it's not necessary. Of course, I got it on the Umbreon, so I can't really complain. But you know what the trend seems to be in this video. We got a Escavalier lined up onto the Mewtwo though here, and because it shields down, Mega Horn is gonna go to town. Boom! That's a lot of damage, but it didn't KO. So that means we're gonna get hit here by a move. Dynamic Punch hurts a little bit, and they swap out into Scrafty here. Escavalier gonna put in work. I know this is only a power-up punch, and I decided not to shield, saving the shield instead for the Lapras, hoping I could take this game with Lapras here. It doesn't have a good matchup, but again, this whole battle right here has been about calling the baits, Bubble Beam versus Ice Beam. Now it's going to be Power Punch versus Foul Play, and I was feeling pretty confident at this point. I think here we have to let the first one go through, because if they bait and get the shield of Power Punch, I think they could get to Foul Play after, which would be enough to knock us out. By calling the Power Up Punch, that actually forces them to, well, I mean, it's pretty difficult for them. They'd have to get like 2 more Chargers, which they just don't have the energy to do. We take that game, and those were some pretty crazy battles, taking us up to 24-55. So those were the battles. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I know it was a very long video, but I wanted to include all of the matchups that I found were difficult or challenging to come back from. A lot of lost leads, a lot of difficult safe switches, and as you can see, we were able to come back from a lot of them, take back switch in exchange for shield advantage or other little things that I felt contribute to finding win conditions. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.